Hey there! We have some new observations to share with you. This is the body of water where we conducted some of our first water tests a few years back. The distance to the opposite shore is around 1,000 feet from where the observer is located. The center of the camera lens is placed approximately 1.5 to 2 inches above the water surface for each of the following tests. We'll show observations from 4 different days in July: the 7th, 9th, 12th, and 14th. The water temperature was between 87 and 89 degrees Fahrenheit each of the 4 days. We took the water temperature both near the shore of the observer and also along the viewing route. The temperatures read pretty consistent in all of the areas, with, at most, a 1 degree Fahrenheit variation. Here is a look at some of the air temperature data from each of the days. Each observation took place between 12 and 5 p.m. In this video, we're observing one of the RC boats placed at various distances over each of the 4 days. And we'll take a look at some objects placed at the opposite shoreline from the final 2 days as well. First, we'll review footage of the RC boat. Here is the approximate size of the boat in inches. This first observation took place on July 7th. The air temperature was around 7 to 10 degrees warmer than the water throughout the observation. We tethered the RC boat to a branch near the opposite shoreline, approximately 1,000 feet from the observer. Here is a view from a higher viewing point. And here is a look from approximately 2 inches above the waterline. Though a bit distorted, we're able to make out both the sail and the hull of the RC boat and can see across to the opposite shore. Here is another look from higher up, and back down to the surface. The next observation took place on July 9th. On this day, the air temperature was between 5 and 2 degrees cooler than the water temperature. Here we placed the RC boat at around 500 feet from the camera. Most of the hull of the boat was not visible at this distance. As we raise the viewing height, the light from the bottom of the boat arrives to the viewer in full, as does the light from an object placed on the opposite shore. Now the boat is near the opposite shore, between 900 and 1,000 feet from the observer. None of the boat is visible at this distance, and we have to raise the viewing height to begin to receive the light from the boat and object. This observation was conducted on July 12th. The air temperature was only a few degrees cooler than the water temperature throughout most of the day. The boat began to mirror not far from the shore. Here is the boat around 300 feet or so from the observer. We again have to raise the viewing height to receive the light from the boat in full. Here, around 600 feet from the observer, I raise and lower the boat in and out of the mirage. Now we raise the camera again, and the light from the lower portion of the boat begins to arrive to the viewer. Here the boat is approximately 800 feet from the observer, and we can only see the very top of the sail. Raising the camera brings the sail back into view. Even from 4 inches or so above the surface, the hull is not visible. Now we'll look at the final day of observations, July 14th. The air temperature was again around 7 to 10 degrees warmer than the water temperature during this test. Here, the boat is between 400 and 500 feet from the observer, and the boat can be seen in full. This is the boat around 700 feet from the observer, and though compressed a bit, it can be seen in full. Now we place the boat around 900 feet away, and the light from the boat still arrives to the viewer in full. It appears even more compressed, but the sail and hull can be made out. Now we'll look at footage of the objects placed at the opposite shore on 2 different days. The base of each of the objects were between 7 and 8 inches above the water surface. Here are the objects on July 14th, while the air was 7 to 10 degrees warmer than the water. The light from the objects and opposite shoreline arrives to the viewer in full. But on July 12th, when the air was just a bit cooler than the water, the light from the bottom of the distant shoreline was unable to arrive to the viewer in full. There was a mirroring effect occurring near the base of the objects, around 7 to 8 inches above the waterline. Another look at the 14th. And back to the 12th. Here, we raise the camera up and receive the light from the shoreline and objects. And lowering. Raising back up. Differing conditions on various days will produce different results. We are sometimes able to view distant objects in full, and other times we are not, as the light from the distant objects will not always arrive to the viewer in full. We'll continue to track these results on various days and share our findings with you. We have more to come soon. Thanks for watching.